Hello. So recently I've started watching creature features online. It's basically a horror host, Vincent Van Dahl, and his crew of people working for him. And they have guests on, or they usually have guests on. Sometimes you get someone famous, sometimes it's just like a local celebrity, if you will. Their locals are generally, you know, this person, he's a curator at this museum, or, he stuff like that. Um, because they, of course, mostly do horror movies, then a lot of their guests that for the local celebrity guests are people who do like ghost tours or graveyard tours or stuff like that. Now, I like a good ghost tour. Usually if I travel and the place I'm visiting has a local ghost tour, I'll usually go on it. Personally, I don't believe in ghosts, but you can usually get some good local history. There's usually a little entertaining. I like a good spooky story from time to time, so I go on the ghost tours. But like I said, I don't really believe in ghosts. I have no reason to. Never encountered anything that I would attribute to a ghost. And so when I was younger, back in my teen years, I actually had a theory about ghosts, which again, I didn't believe in ghosts at the time back then even, but I had this theory I came across. Now, one thing about it was ghost stories. When people tell ghost stories, the more believable ones are the simpler ones. When the ghost spoke to us, the ghost interacted with us, it looked at us, whatever. There's always something unbelievable about that. The believable stories are this ghost walked by, and it's usually something. This is the sentry, on his guard post, and he used to walk this route every night, and every night at this time, people see someone walk by there, and they think it's his ghost. Or we had one local one, an ice skater who would be seen practicing her routine on a frozen lake. Again, it's something. One thing they all had in common was these are people doing a routine activity that they would do repeatedly. So, the theory I came up as a kid, see, back in those days, we had this stuff called VHS tape. You know, we didn't have these fancy CDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. And what it was it was a tape, magnetic tape, and when you recorded, it would imprint magnetic, raise or lower the magnetic tape, and when you went replay it, the players would read this magnetic strip, and everything was done by magnets or electromagnetics. Now, most living things generate an electromagnetic field. The Earth has an electromagnetic field. So, my theory was, what if, in some way, my electromagnetic field is leaving an imprint on the Earth's electromagnetic field? And so, a ghost really isn't the spirit of a person, it is a recording of their presence. Now, this, of course, like I said, it's just a theory. So how would I go about this now? Okay, so like I said, people doing stuff repetitively are the more believable ghost stories, in my opinion. So, guard walks his post on every night. Over time, he just leaves an image of himself, an electromagnetic image, which the Earth somehow records on its electromagnetic. So that being said, I'm sitting here, I'm painting in the same spot I normally paint in. So am I going to leave a ghost image here And not necessarily. It's possible that my personal electromagnetic field and the Earth's magnetic field in this area just aren't compatible. So it won't. So ghosts would only appear in a certain place, according to my theory, just because of the local, you know, this area has more iron in it, so it's more likely to record, or something like that. Or this person, their electromagnetic field is at a specific frequency, so they're more likely to record. So that's why everyone doesn't leave a ghost image behind. It's just certain people do in certain places. And again, if they're doing stuff repeatedly in that same place, they're likely to do it. Now then, you could, of course, erase a cassette tape with a magnet, or you could record over it with another magnetic field. So this is why, again, the more believable ghost stories, they're usually seen at a distance. People go up to investigate him, the ghost disappears or whatever. Why? Because, again, I am putting my electromagnetic field in there and I'm interfering with the recording, and so I'm making it disappear. Do it enough times and the ghost is going to disappear altogether. We're basically erasing the ghost. Which, again, you go back to the more believable stories, and you get to things like, they used to see a ghost here, but it hasn't been seen for 10 years or something. It's because instead of being afraid of ghosts and running away like people were in ancient times, we started to investigate ghosts, and we'd run up and we'd erase them, or we would start interfering with their patterns. And so it's possible that as people became more interested in ghosts, not just as a scary phenomenon, but as something we want to get up close and study, it's possible that we accidentally started erasing them. And so that's why you don't hear any good modern ghost stories, because, again, now that we're actually interested in them, we're doing more to erase them than to actually create them. We also have a lot more technology. See, that's ghost hunters. We got our camera. We want to catch something on it, and we got our little radio frequency thing we're trying to pick up sounds on, and we have all these theories that we can find ghosts by looking for electromagnetic fields and stuff like that, and we don't consider that, if my theory is correct, which, why not? All this equipment we're taking in, it might actually be erasing the ghosts. And so, like I said, the more believable stories are from years ago, before we got a lot of technology. Everyone's got their cell phone. We got cell towers bombarding everything with electromagnetic waves. It's possible no one will ever, no new ghosts will be made, because we're just completely washing over with, erasing things the moment that they would be created or whatever. So, like I said, this is a theory. With theories, you start to ask things like, how do you prove your theory? It's possible you can't. Again, like I said, it's possible only certain people in certain places will leave behind an image of themselves. If that is true, we don't know what causes it. We don't know who to look up or who to try to, we have to find the right person in the right location, but in order to do that, we have to actually study ghosts that do exist to look for what causes this. And as we try to study ghosts, we are, of course, erasing them. So we get this weird cycle going on where, it becomes almost impossible to even try to test this theory. Like I said, that was just a theory I had as a kid. In my opinion, it still holds up as being somewhat valid, just because, like I said, everything I've said, the believable stories are the ones where we don't interact. The ghosts are just doing something repetitive. They're, it could be a recording of a past action as opposed to an actual entity. Like I said, we don't hear stories of new ghosts anymore because, again, according to my theory, we're erasing them on a regular basis. So, and when we go to investigate them, we take our electronic equipment and we end up erasing them instead. So, as a theory, you might think, okay, this is all very silly sounding, but at the same time, it explains everything that we believe about, or everything about the more believable ghost stories. It explains, and it also explains why why we don't see ghosts as frequently as we would expect, why we don't have new ghosts as frequently as we would expect. Um, so, like I said, how to prove or disprove this theory, we really can't. The theory itself says the more we try to investigate ghosts, the more likely we are to destroy evidence of ghosts. But they aren't really ghosts in the modern sense of the word. They're just recordings of people. So ghosts aren't spooky. They're just no more spooky than watching a video. And that's just my theory. That's theory number one. I, of course, have other ghost theories, which I will cover in other broadcasts, but this time around, we're just going to talk about the basic one that I had as a kid, which, again, even though this was a teenager going off, half-cocked, not really understanding even the science of how recorders work, it still seems to fit a lot. So, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Happy ghost watching.